going on? It's your boy Jay Hungry coming at you once again with another recipe. Milanesa, breaded steak. This is what we're going to be making today. This is based off of a little bit of my grandfather's recipe, my mom's recipe, and my wife's recipe as well. Again, this is breaded steak. Don't forget to subscribe, like, smash that bell so you can hear when my new videos come out. The first thing I want to talk about is the type of meat that you use. You can get milanesas already prepared, ready to go. The problem with, well, it's not really a problem, but the thing is the quality of the meat. What I have here is top sirloin. Top sirloin is a little better cut of meat than what they use that's already in the butcher shop. So this is why I like to make my own milanesas. So I get to use a better cut of meat. Today what we're gonna do is marinate, set it up, put it in the fridge, and then leave it overnight, and tomorrow and show you how to bread it and how to fry it, and then the best part, we're gonna get to taste it. All right, so here's how we're going to do it. We have 2 cups of milk. We're gonna pour it in a blender. We got 1 tablespoon of pink Himalayan salt. We got 1 tablespoon of black pepper, a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, 3 1/2 cloves of garlic, a small onion, we're gonna throw that in there. We got a 1/4 onion, so a small onion and a 1/4. The way my mom does it is 1 egg per pound of meat, so we got about 3 pounds of meat. So we'll get cracking. Three eggs, we'll put the top on and we'll grind it all up. We'll take our steak, just kind of lay it out, unfold it. My family owned a restaurant, and my grandfather would sit there and he would thinly slice by hand the sirloin. And I used to just watch him. He used to be a butcher. Don Agustin Lozano. That man taught me a lot. Very grateful. Miss him very much. We always ate good when Grandpa was around. So we're gonna leave this overnight. We're gonna cover it with plastic. We'll bread it tomorrow and throw it in the fryer. And I got a good story that has to deal with hot oil and my little brother. Okay, so we waited a whole day to marinate our top sirloin, thinly sliced pieces of steak. Now, excuse me if I don't know if this is a marinade or if it's a brine. I don't know the difference, but whatever it's called, that's what it is. Now, our next step is the breading. Now, what I like to do with the breading is I take maybe a 1/4 of this can of the panko breadcrumbs and then mix it with about 3/4 of the Italian style breadcrumbs. So I put in a separate bowl, mix it up, stir it up with a fork just to make sure I get a good mix. And then we'll put it on this pizza pan. Once we get on this pizza pan, now this next step is my favorite. This is my childhood memory right here. My mom, whenever she would make milanesas, you know, she would never announce to us when, but she would take the top sirloin, and it's kind of folded, so you want a whole piece. She would place it on this, and then she would cover it up with the breadcrumbs. And then this is the sound that we would hear when we knew we were about to have one of the best dinners. Now, a lot of people, they just like to sprinkle the breadcrumbs on and then flip it over and do the other side. But this is the way I was taught. What this also does is it helps to thin the steak out. The reason you want the steak thin is because we're gonna drop it in hot oil and we want it to cook And we don't want any raw spots. So when you pound out your breadcrumb, we're also thinning out the steak. As you can see, you just find spots where you can see the meat, put some breadcrumb on it, and just pound it in. So, and look at that, nice and breaded. We'll flip it over and we'll just look for some spots, grab some breadcrumbs, sprinkle it over it, and same process. I just want to show you guys what it'll look like. That's what our breaded steak looks like. Now you may say, wow, 3 pounds, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. But check out what we do. When my family had a restaurant before, we used to put each piece on a parchment paper. And then you fold it over. And I bread the next piece. I'll put it on top of the parchment paper. And then we would keep those pieces layered with the parchment paper in between so they don't stick. And keep them in a Tupperware. Throw them in the freezer, and as a customer comes and they order a torta de Milanesa or some tacos de Milanesa, we would take out the pieces and throw it in a deep fryer, and it would cook in 3-4 minutes. So we're gonna make enough to put in the freezer, so whenever we want a quick taco or a torta sandwich, we can take it right out of the freezer, throw it in a deep fryer, and we'll be good to go. All right. This is the final product, the breaded Milanesa. My leftover Milanesas, I got them in Ziploc bags with parchment paper in between so the meat doesn't stick to each other. These will go in the freezer, and I'm making this for dinner tonight. And now we move on to the frying pan. Okay, so this is the part that gets a little dangerous. We got hot oil, we got cold meat, breaded meat. Have your rack. You gotta have everything ready to go because Milanesa cooks quick. So we're gonna start with the small pieces. Now when I lay this into the oil, I wanna lay it down so it goes that way, away from me. Now to make it manageable, if you need to cut the pieces, go ahead and cut the pieces. It's a really quick cook, so you want to make sure you stay on it. That's the brown that we're looking for. Oh man, this is beautiful. This thing smells amazing. Look at that, almost done. Now how much oil you put in the pan is totally up to you. I don't want to tell you how to cook. I'm using olive oil. It's what I have right now. I normally put a little bit more oil into it, but this should be just enough because you're doing one side at a time. If you want them to be submerged, you can do that too, but I feel that you're just wasting oil when you do that. All right. All right. These two are done. Let it drain off a little bit. I have a pan under my rack back here. Oh, look at that. And again, what makes a good Milanesa is the cut of meat. This is top sirloin. So if you go to a Mexican restaurant, let's say you don't want to make yours, but you want to taste this, be prepared to be disappointed because not every restaurant uses top sirloin. I've gone to restaurants where they ground up skirt steak and then they smooth it out and they add stuff to it and they make it look like a piece of steak and then they bread it. And they tell me that, you know, they want to charge you $9 for some Milanesa. That don't make no sense to me. If you're gonna charge me money, give me quality. That's what I say. I'm gonna cut this big one in half. All right, look at that. So hopefully you guys can comment and let me know if you guys make any of these recipes, because I want to know how it turned out for you guys. That's the other reason why you want to pound the steak. You want it thin, because you're not really cooking it for a long time. Maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, a minute per side. It all depends, again, how much heat you have, how much oil you have. As you can tell, it's not a really long process to cook. It's just a long process to prepare. Smell-o-vision. Somebody hurry up and invent that. Now, my mom used to take these pieces and leave it on a napkin, but then it wouldn't stay crunchy. Oh, I got a little test piece. Oh yeah, that's it. Nice. A little bit of oil drip on. Just use the residual heat from the burner since I had it on high. Turn the heat is off, there's no flame. You can let the tortilla rest on there. That's one way to do it. So now, take our Milanesa. We take the salsa that we made yesterday. Are you guys ready for a taco? Yeah, boy. That, my friends, is a good taco. So, I'm gonna leave you here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like. I gotta go get my beer. See you guys later.